I'm learning Japanese. I think I'm learning Japanese. I really think so. Welcome to Sashimi Street. Today's show is brought to you by the numbers 21 through 30 and the Hiragana characters in the A column, and from the support of Fund for Teachers, because teachers need money. 2、10、1、2、10、2、2、10、3、2、10、4、2、10、5、2、10、6、2、10、7、2、10、8、2、10、9、3、10。
あいうえお。あいうえお。
Urashima Taro. 昔々あるところに there was a young fisherman named Urashima Taro. One day, he sees a group of boys beating a kame. He stops them and helps the kame back to the water. The next day, the kame returns and tells him that Otohime-sama has invited him to Ryugu-jo to thank him. Urashima Taro goes with the kame. He meets Otohime-sama and stays at Ryugu-jo as her guest. He begins to miss his family and friends, so he asks Otohime-sama if he can return. As a parting gift, she gives him a tamatebako and tells him not to open it. When he returns, he does not recognize the people or the scenery. He realizes that he had stayed in Ryugu-jo for many years. Not knowing what to do, he opens the tamatebako and white smoke comes out, turning him into an old man. The tamatebako was what was keeping him from aging. Oshimai. Do all languages have writing? Do all writings use an alphabet? Japanese language started as a language without writing, and it adopted the Chinese writing, which uses characters. Can you think of other cultures that had writing that did not use the alphabet? Starting in the 4th century, the Japanese slowly adopted the Chinese writing as elites who spoke Chinese also wrote in Chinese. By the 8th century, people used the Chinese writing to write Japanese words. Because the spoken Japanese language is very different from the spoken Chinese language, the writing evolved to include 2 alphabets that would be used to fill in the parts that could not be written using the Chinese writing. Japanese writing is a combination of the Chinese writing called kanji and the 2 alphabets, Hiragana and katakana. Today's fun facts about Japan. More than 70% of Japan consists of mountains, including more than 200 volcanoes. Mount Fuji, the tallest mountain in Japan, is an active volcano. There are around 1,500 earthquakes every year. Proverb of the day.
やぶをつっついて蛇を出す。Poke around in a bush and a snake will come out. Similar proverb. Let sleeping dogs lie.
There is a 4th writing that is used in Japanese, which is Romaji. Romaji is writing Japanese using the Roman alphabet. We will mainly use Romaji in the show. As you may remember, Japanese words are long, and when you write them out in Romaji, it makes it look even longer. But there is a trick to dividing the words into syllables. If you remember, most syllables in Japanese end in a vowel sound. So you want to start by finding the vowels to separate the syllables.
Today's loanwords.
Aidoru, meaning teen idol or pop star, is from the English word idol. Talento, meaning TV talent or personality, is from the English word talent. Serebu, referring to rich people that are famous, is from the English word celebrity, shortened. Karaoke is a combination of the Japanese word kara, meaning empty, and the English word orchestra, shortened.
Today's TPR.
皆さん、もう一度、すみません。お願いします。どうぞ。わかりません。
In Japanese, there are helper words called particles that follow another word to help clarify the word's role in a sentence. Some function like the preposition in English, at, in, from, under, while others have a more subtle function like the articles in English, a and the. For example, these are 4 similar sentences where the particles have been changed. Jon ga mimasu. Ga says that Jon is the subject, so it is John looks. Jon wa mimasu. Wa says that Jon is the topic, so it is as for John, he looks. Jon o mimasu. O says that Jon is the object, so it is I look at John. Jon to mimasu. To says that you are with Jon, so it is I look with John. The particle ka that you put at the end of a sentence turns the sentence into a question. It is similar to the question mark at the end of a sentence in English. However, in English, the verb is also moved before the noun, whereas in Japanese, the verb stays in the same place. Jon desu. I am John. Jon desu ka? Am I John? Yayoi, period. Wet rice agriculture is introduced in the period. Many settle into large farming communities. Some members begin to take leadership in the community. Today's words and sentences. はじめまして。名前はです。どうぞよろしく。名前は何ですか？どうですか？ More TPR.
いいです。まあまあです。ダメです。
Tongue twister of the day.
親カモシカの後から子カモシカ。After the parent antelope follows the baby antelope. 親カモシカの後から子カモシカ。親カモシカの後から子カモシカ。親カモシカの後から子カモシカ。
Dialogue with John and Jane. はじめまして。名前はジョンです。どうぞよろしく。
はじめまして。名前はジェインです。どうぞよろしく。
名前は何ですか？
名前はジェインです。
どうですか？
いいです。
Today's Onomatopoeia.
ニヤニヤ means smirking. ニコニコmeans smiling. Uki uki means cheerful. Waku waku means excited. Doki doki means excited.
In the Japanese religion of Shintoism, it is said that there are 8 million gods. The number of gods is not a literal count. In Japanese tradition, the use of the number 8 means that there are many. So if there are 8 million, that means that there are a lot of gods. Also, the idea of God is very different from the Almighty God that looks over you in the Western religions. In Shintoism, there are many gods, and they are more like natural spirits that you live with. Some of these gods are called Yokai, which can loosely be translated as monsters. In the 18th century, there was an artist named Toriyama Sekien who produced a series of illustrated books on yokai. The images that he created established the look of many of the yokai for the Japanese. We are going to use his illustrations to introduce some of the lesser known yokai. Yokai of the day.
Amikiri, meaning net cutter, is a cross between a snake, bird, and lobster. It uses its claws to cut nets and blinds, causing inconvenience for its victims.
More TPR.
言います。聞きます。見ます。静かにします。
Simple Shinto. Creation of Japan. The first gods come into existence at the time of the creation of the universe. Later, following the formation of heaven and earth, the 7 generations of gods emerge. The first 2 generations are individual gods, while the 5 that follow come as brothers and sisters. The 7th and the last of the 7 generations of gods are Izanagi and Izanami. They are responsible for the creation of Japan and the other gods. On the bridge between heaven and earth, Izanagi and Izanami churn the sea below with a spear. The drops of salty water form an island where they make their home. They build a ritual pillar and circle around it. When they meet, Izanami, the female god, speaks first in greeting. They have 2 children that are badly formed. They consult the other gods who tell them that the man should speak first. They go around the pillar again, and this time Izanagi, the male god, speaks first. The union is successful, and from it are born the islands of Japan. Today's haiku with basho. Choose which translation sounds the best.
古池や買わず飛び込む水の音。The old pond, a frog jumps in, the sound of water. Old pond, leap, splash, a frog. Old dark sleepy pool, quick unexpected frog, goes plop, water splash.
More yokai.
Seto Taisho, meaning crockery general, is a yokai pieced together from chipped teacups, cracked dishes, and other household utensils. It is known to chase its victims around the kitchen.
Pop quiz. In Urashima Taro, what did Urashima Taro get as a parting gift, and what did he do with it when he returned to shore? True or false? More than 70% of Japan consists of mountains. I'm learning Japanese. I think I'm learning Japanese. I really think so. To recap, you should now be able to introduce yourself, Respond to useful words and phrases and ask questions.